Hi, this is Bruce, and today we're going to look at how to make a progressive web app, or a PWA. Specifically, we're going to first of all make sure that we meet the requirement of serving our page over HTTPS, right? So secure connection that encrypts the flow of data going back and forth between the server and the user. Then we're going to register a service worker, cache some files, and then make sure that our PWA will work even when it's offline. So we'll start off by registering that service worker. So I'm going to come over here to the Mozilla documentation on service workers, and I'm going to copy this code here that specifies a scope since my application resides in a subfolder. So I'm going to create a script tag right at the bottom just before the closing of my body tag. And then I'll paste the code that I grabbed from Mozilla. And I'm going to specify my service worker as service worker part 1, since I will be doing multiple parts in this series. So I'm going to save that and upload it. And we'll flip on back, and if I refresh my page and inspect and check out the console, you can see that the service worker is trying to register, but failed because I don't actually have the JavaScript or the service worker created. So I'm going to come on over here and create that file. And notice that it has to be service worker part 1.js. It has to be in the same folder as the index file or the root of your application. And let's just log this to the console. And if we upload that, we should see that the registration succeeded, although obviously it's not doing anything at the moment. So next thing we need to do is to create a cache. So we'll start off by giving my cache a name. And defining the files that I would like to cache. So right now we only have our index file, so the root of this folder, and our CSS. And you can see I've got it here in a CSS subfolder, and it's called pwa.css. So next thing to do is to install the service worker. So we're going to use self in order to refer back to this actual service worker, and add an event listener. To install, and call a function. And let's log that. And I'll use template literals here, or backticks, in order to create a template literal, so we can just see which the name of the cache. We can pass some variables in. And what we want to do is we want to wait until the caches are open. Let's pass our cache name back in, and then we're going to call another function. And let's log that. And return the files. that have been added. Okay, so now that we've done an installation, next thing we need to do is to activate our service worker. So again, we're going to add an event listener. And here we can use an anonymous function. And we'll add a wait until event, until the clients have been claimed. In other words, the service worker has done its job by interceding in the request to the network. And then next, we're going to use a service worker pattern where we're going to try and fetch the files from the network. And then if the network is not available, we're going to fall back to the files that have been cached. So we'll call a fetch event. And create a function where we will respond with the actual fetch request. And we'll return any cached files that match the request. Let's just log our service worker strategy here. Network, then cache. And if we've done anything right at all, hopefully we should be able to see some stuff. Still not working, and I've still got an E is not defined on line 12 because I called it event. Oh, and I've got another error here on my CSS. I should probably start this one all over again. And now that I've cleaned up some errors, you can see here we've got the fact that the service worker is loaded, and then you can see here it's gone through the process of installing, of caching files, and then activating the service worker. Over here you can see that the service worker is there, it's activated and running, and if we come down here to the cache storage, then we should be able to see, kind of, let me just slide this back over a little bit. We should be able to see that we've got both the index page and the CSS have been cached into the cache storage. Okay. So let's come back here and let's add an image to our page, and then we'll go about caching that as well. So I'm going to come down here and add an image. And if we flip back here, we can see we've got an image there. And then if we go and take our page offline, The page still works because even though it's offline, what's happening is it's going and getting the HTML and the CSS from the cache. So what we need to do in order for it to also serve up the image is just come back here and we'll add those images to the files to cache. So there are the two images. So now we're going to upload that, and we'll come back here, application back online. And you can see it, maybe you caught it, that it went through an update. So now what's happening is it's waiting to activate. So I can click skip waiting here, and then it will activate it, or I can refresh. And now you can see it's activated and running. If we check out our cache, we can see those two image files have been added. Right here and here. And now if we take it back offline, and come over here and refresh, then you can see we had a slight little blip. I did a full refresh. It checked the network. When it wasn't able to connect to the network, then it loaded the image from the cache. So in part one, we created a page that is using HTTPS in order to serve the page. We've registered a service worker. And then inside that service worker, we have cached some files and added 3 separate events. One is to install, one is to activate, and one is to fetch the files using a network then cache pattern. So it's checking the network. If the network is not available or if the request for the files fails, then it goes and it gets the files from the cache. I hope this helps.